It's 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I didn't hear the recording. Did the recording go on?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, at this time, I'm going to call the city council meeting to order. Let's start with roll call, please.
Councilmember Cummings.
Here.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Here.
Councilmember LaRoche. Here. Councilmember Parsons.
She is online.
I'm on Zoom.
Thank you. Mayor Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Banks.
Here.
Councilmember Budashevsky.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have an agenda before us, looking for an approval. Nancy?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Brendan?
Second that.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have a proclamation tonight. It's in reference to Constitution Week, September 17th to the 28th. We are in that week. Whereas September 17th, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas the Constitution provides the framework of and for our government with a set of principles that guarantee citizens certain rights, freedoms, and responsibilities. And whereas the Constitution further outlines the power of the federal government and leaves other matters to the state government, ensuring that government remains accountable to its citizens. And whereas it is fitting to officially recognize the Constitution and the anniversary of its creation. And whereas to teach and study the principles outlined in the Constitution of the United States Congress by joint resolution on August 2nd, 1956, requested that the President shall proclaim the week between September 17th and 23rd each year as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Jim Adams, Mayor of Crystal, do hereby proclaim September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in the city of Crystal. I encourage residents to study the importance of active citizenship and the strength of our Constitution, dated this 20th day of September 2022. So, with that, does anybody know what the average Constitution is around the world? Anybody remember that?
The average constitution?
Yeah,
Age, you mean?
Yeah, how long do they last?
Probably
Say
not long. I
20
think we're
years.
The oldest.
Say 20
That's
years.
pretty close.
10.
17 years. And we are at 235. Yeah, okay, good.
Were you planning on having one for our state constitution?
Wasn't. I'd have to read it before I would do one of those.
Why?
Why not?
Well, you referenced it here. I mean, leave other matters to state governments, right?
Sure, yeah, that's what
So, I mean, that would be probably pertinent.
well, it's National Constitution Day, and that's what I covered today, so
Okay.
that's what I'm doing.
Also, speaking of our constitution, we have an election coming up, and so early voting starts Friday.
There's Friday.
So, big deal.
All right, well, anything
get out
else
there
like
and
that, let's do during announcements. Consent agenda is before us. I'll read that into the record at this point. Approval of the minutes for the following meetings. City Council regular meeting for September 6, 2022. Regular work session for September 6th. Regular work session for September 8th. And special work session for September 12th. List of the license applications submitted by the city clerk to the city council, and that list is on file in the city clerk's office. Adoption of a resolution appointing the interim commissioner to the Joint Water Commission. Adoption of a resolution rescinding parking restrictions on a portion of Brunswick Avenue North, south of 42nd Avenue. I'd like to pull 4 or 5, the adoption of a resolution authorizing the execution of joint powers agreement for the fence consortium, just because it's going to cause a financial effect. We'll do that just before the regular agenda. Sixth item is the adoption of a resolution accepting donations of a statue memorizing Barway Collins and celebrating all children. And the final item, number 7, appointment of the members to the Inclusion and Diversity Commission. Looking for a motion on this? Brendan?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read
All
with
right.
the modifications.
Sure, thank you. Looking for a second? Go ahead.
I'll second that.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. All right, so that passes. Open forum. We do have someone wishing to speak during open forum. We have Chaplain Howard Dotson here to address the council. Step up to the podium, make sure the microphone is right there for you.
Short, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Huh?
I'm short, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, great, I hear you. Go
Evening,
ahead.
Mayor, council members. My name is Howard Dotson. I've been a Presbyterian pastor and a healthcare chaplain. And 7 years ago, River of Life Lutheran Church in North Minneapolis partnered with me to help Louise Carlua get here from Monrovia. And I've kind of been her unofficial chaplain for the last 7 years. And she's been on quite a journey since she lost her son. And she's been able to have her son, Teddy, join her, who's 10 now. Teddy was 3 years old when his brother died. And now she's had a baby, Lucilia. So I call her my Easter story. We had Chinese on Easter when she was 7 months pregnant. And I said, you are my Easter story. Because out of tragedy comes hope. She's a living testament to that. So I wanted to, if it doesn't violate the quorum, I wanted to call her so she can say thank you for the donation and for the community coming together to remember her son and his life and legacy.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Our Presbyterian mantra is decent and orderly, so I don't want to do it. I don't want to violate any protocols. Hello, Mama Louise. I have you on speaker, and I'm here with the mayor and the council members, and Chief Stephanie's here.
Okay, so yeah, let me move. The baby is crying. I just want to appreciate everybody. Also for the hard work, and I really appreciate everything. I'm so happy that you guys always remember my son Bawe. So whenever I hear this, I always happy, and you guys are all well appreciated in my heart. May God bless you guys. I'm so happy that you guys always remember Bawe colleagues. So I approve of everything you guys doing, and God bless God for everything. So I want to take this time to appreciate y'all, to tell you thank you for whatever you guys doing.
Do you have any questions for her?
Any questions for council members?
No, I just want to know the time and the date they're going to put the study up. Maybe if I have time, so I can be there. The date they're going to.
I'll work with Chief Stephanie to make sure you know the date and time well in advance.
Okay.
Chief,
Yeah.
did you have any?
So, yeah. Thanks to everybody. Thanks. I'm so happy and appreciative. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Louise. Go ahead, Chief.
Okay.
This is Councilmember Kaiser, Louise. Congratulations on the new baby. That's pretty exciting.
Can you
And-
hear okay, Louise?
No, I'm not hearing her.
Councilmember Kaiser saying congratulations on the new baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're
Yes, I got
welcome.
a girl.
And when we spoke about this last year, you were interested in starting a foundation to help curb violence against children in Barway's name. Are you still interested in doing something like that?
Huh?
Are you still interested in starting a foundation?
Yes, I'm really interested in doing anything in our name.
Okay,
Anything. Yes.
okay. I haven't talked to you in a while and wanted to see if you're still interested, but you and I can touch base later about that.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
interested. I'm still interested, yes.
I understand, a new baby kind of overtakes everything in your life for at least a brief second.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congrats. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
All right. Chief Revering?
Yep, Mr. Mayor and Council, I just want to thank you for your support in this. And Louise, thank you so much for being at the forum today via phone. And we will definitely chat soon, but just know that the Crystal Police Department is 100% supportive and behind you and your new baby, and also your son who was brought over as well. So thank you.
Teddy's 10 years old. He goes to Monroe Elementary, and he plays soccer.
Excellent.
He scored 2 of the 4 goals at their last game.
Nice.
Well done, Teddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, is there anyone else wishing to speak during open forum? All right, that's the end of open forum. I'll close it at this time. First item on our regular agenda now is 4.6 on the consent agenda. Real quickly,
You mean 4-5?
4.5. I do mean 4.5. Thank you. And that's referring to the joint powers agreement. Are either of you prepared to do a quick synopsis so the public can hear what we're doing?
We can do whatever you want.
Doesn't have to take a little bit of, or that much time. I just want it to be heard and known.
Yeah, so basically in response to some of the civil unrest we experienced a while ago, really started with Hennepin Chiefs expressing an interest in looking into a way providing anti-scale fencing as quick as possible in response to a no-notice, critical incident. And it's been working over the last year, not only just here in Hennepin County, but kind of a larger metro area, and what that's led to really with the leadership of the chief and our city attorney forming this consortium. The information I passed out, there are 23 agencies across 5 county or metro counties here that have already joined the consortium. And so really it's trying to provide a way to provide anti-scale fencing quickly in response to a no-notice critical incident.
Okay,
There you go.
go ahead, Nancy.
Mark, could you say that again? Were these 23 interested in joining?
Nope, they've already taken official action to join. The
They
total
already
number
have,
that have been involved is actually over 50 that have looked into it at some point within the last year.
Great, thank you.
All right. Therese?
And the more members, the cheaper the cost is?
Generally, that's the case, yes. The one outlier there is if a really large department were to join, then the need to cover the largest PD would go up, so that would increase the cost, but we don't anticipate that happening at this point. So really, the more at this point just spreads the cost further.
Go ahead, Brendan.
The only, I guess, only, I don't see, like, in the list, it may not have been approved yet, but are, like, any, like, the sheriff's office from any of these counties are they involved, or is these just PDs?
Just PDs. Hennepin County is not going to.
Right, but I think, like, I was thinking, like, Anoka or.
Washington
or
County.
Washington, any Carver.
That's the only one.
Okay.
All right, John?
Plymouth, are they part of the discussion at this time?
They're having a discussion with their council, and I'm not sure if that's occurred yet or not.
There are no.
There are no. Yeah. Because I noticed that a lot of these cities tend to be like first-tier cities or whatever, and it's probably because Plymouth doesn't feel that they have a need for.
I don't think it's that they don't feel like they have a need. I think it comes down for them, it comes down to the cost.
Cost. And let's talk about cost. What's the cost to us?
So right now, based on the number of agencies we have, there's an annual fee, what's called an availability fee, around $8,000. So that's basically, we're paying a vendor to store the fence, to have it available if we need it. If the fence goes up, then there's additional cost, depending on, I actually know that, and I could run the number off, but I think it's in the order of, was it $18,000 a month or something? So it's still cheaper than if we contracted for it, but that's basically, hey, the fence is deployed cost. Couple reasons, that's where the vendor basically kind of makes some of their profit on it, and then also covering the replacement of the panels should they be damaged. One of the things we heard consistently is there's kind of this balance of people don't want to pay for something they may never need, and then if they need it, it's also a sticker shock, and trying to strike the two balances is really one of the challenges here. And so I talked to the vendors, and this schematic is kind of how we came up with that, of like, okay, we can reduce your ongoing costs by, if it's deployed, then there's an additional cost that comes into play. So that's kind of one of the tools we try to use to make the ongoing cost as small as possible in the event that you never need it. But if you do need it, it's a structured rate, so at least you know what you're into it for.
Yep. Nancy?
Question, I heard about Plymouth that they're still discussing, but I see that Golden Valley, New Hope, Robbinsdale are not in this list. Is that currently a similar issue?
I was told Golden Valley is also a no. I'm unsure of Robbinsdale and New Hope at this
I
time.
don't, so for the impression I've gotten from New Hope is they are going to be starting it. They're kind of waiting to see what we do, to be honest. Robbinsdale, I don't think they've even discussed it, to be honest.
Okay. I was just curious because if something were to happen, say in Robbinsdale, and they needed such a device, they would pretty much be on their own then, correct?
Yep.
They would call just as Brooklyn Center did, right? I mean, they would call the company themselves and get it deployed, but yeah,
Okay.
they'd be on their own.
Okay. Thank you.
John?
Okay, so it's $8,000 for the fence, correct?
The availability, so what I would say the difference there is it's $8,000 to have access to the fencing that'd be stored here. If you just called up, let's say like Brooklyn Center did, it's coming out of Chicago, you're assuming there's fencing available and there's, it's not the middle of a snowstorm and they can get here, and there's all these kind of costs that layer into that you aren't necessarily
Give me
sure
the
of.
layers.
So if it's we just do it, and if we're part of the consortium we call, you have an availability charge. The labor to put the fence up is done by the public works staff, so there's no labor charge, which is different than the contractor. There is a freight cost, but you're trucking it from here in the metro to here, the PD here, so that's gonna be a lot less than trucking it from Chicago, for example.
Sure.
There's also equipment, so there's a loader to unload the truck. Obviously, we'd be using our public works loader to do that, different than a contractor. So that's really kind of the breakdown of where the savings are as far as the initial deployment cost as compared to contracting it out. Does that answer your question?
Teresa, you got a question?
I do, and this is for the chief. When we've had periods of civil unrest before and people protesting, have they ever been violent or damaged property?
So I would say we have never had civil unrest here in the city of Crystal.
Okay.
I would call it protesting, right? And, but I would not call it civil unrest.
Because people certainly protest by the millions all over the world without it being violent.
Yes.
I mean,
Correct.
that happens.
Yep, that is absolutely correct.
What gives me heartburn about this is I just don't like living in a police state. And when Dante Wright was killed, and right around the time of the Chauvin verdict, it felt like it was a police state. Not here in Crystal, but people protest without being violent. Lots and lots and lots. And I'm not condoning the violence or the civil unrest by any stretch. I'm not condoning that, and it's horrible, and it's, okay, but it just seems like overkill to me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no worries. So what I would offer is, actually, I don't know, Chief, do you want to take the initial response?
Yep.
And then
So I'll just touch on what occurred in Brooklyn Center,
Okay.
which is what you're talking about with Dante Wright and Kim Potter. That was violent, just to be clear. That situation became violent, and that's why what we did was put the fence up so that stopped, but also that it protected those who weren't violent protesting, them to be protected, right? That fence helped with that. That helped the cops also get out of the escalation of the force that was being used during those times, and then de-escalation occurred because of the fence, right? So the fencing is a good thing. It's a very good thing. It provides safety for those who are peacefully protesting, and it also provides security for those who are not peacefully protesting, right? It provides the security for the staff, for the officers, along with anybody who's coming in and out of those buildings. And I understand the cost piece of it. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to decide whether or not something that we may never need here in Crystal, right? The potential is there, obviously, but it's something that you have to determine on your own, on whether or not you want to move forward. But the fencing is something that is definitely, was very helpful in that situation.
So and what I was going to say, just offer is, we want to be clear. Protesting is a constitutionally protected thing. It's the violent and destructive actors kind of hijacking that situation that are what this is up what's for. And so, as the chief noted, the fencing is a de-escalator in the sense that it creates a space for protesting where protesters can protest, and that violent destructive actor can't engage in the same way because of what the fence does, is providing that separation.
John?
So for instance, in Milwaukee, there was a situation where, obviously there was similar to Brooklyn Park, and there was various militia groups that showed up and decided that they were going to act, in place of the police department, and that escalated that situation. So, given that, do you see that changes anything in terms of this fencing?
No, a fence would have been put up, in my opinion, in that situation as well.
Okay.
And I believe fencing did actually go up in Kenosha
It did.
around some of the facilities.
From some of the facilities,
Yeah.
I just don't want, I'm kind of an insurance guy, I kind of, because in the situation in Brooklyn Park, right? Brooklyn Center. There was a lot of residential spaces that were close to that place, and those individuals felt trapped, right? Even with the fencing, they were able to go about their life without.
Yeah, the fencing was not prohibiting the apartment complexes,
Yep.
the housing and they are in a very residential neighborhood, they
Right.
meaning the Brooklyn Center Police Department. But that fencing did not prohibit anybody from coming and going from their homes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, that's kind of, obviously, there's a situation there, you're trying to de-escalate it, but you're also trying to maintain, make sure that the community itself feels safe, I guess, right? And, I don't have a problem with protesting. I think like you said, it's a constitutional protected right. We had a proclamation about it here tonight. I don't have any heartburn when it comes to, if you're able to allow people who are not involved to feel like that they don't need to have to vacate their homes in order to feel safe, right? So I would be in support of it. I do like to know a little more about the cost. Obviously storage and whatnot, we're involved, $18,000, did you say something a month?
No, so if it goes up, I'll figure it out here quick.
Oh, that's fine. Well,
So so the annual cost is right now based on the numbers of agencies, I think it's like $8,500 is the availability, is what I like to think about that.
Do we have to approve this tonight? Is this something we can get additional information on it and then kind of mull it over into our heads and maybe, feel,
So we had a work session on this.
I missed that, so.
So no, you don't have to approve it tonight. It would be helpful just to let us know what questions you have.
Great. So, for me, the question is cost.
So it's $22,000 a month if it were to go up,
Okay.
which is again considerably less than if you were just to open contract on the market.
Sure, and have a truck up from Chicago, never get here, right? So,
Potentially.
Or the supply might not be there. What we talked about during the work session was, it ebbs and flows in our country, what protesting goes on. And in the near term, I think it's a great idea. There is an option inside of this joint powers agreement to back out of it in the future. We can do that at any time. I think in the near term, I'd like to move forward with it in terms of passing it, and probably for the next couple of years, making sure that we continue to be a part of it. I'd really like to see us get by 1 or 2 elections to make sure that we are moving in a different direction in this community. And I don't mean this community, Crystal, I mean this community as the metro, and the nation for that matter. So, Brendan?
So you're saying the cost increase, that would be for each agency, or the agency that had the request of the deployment?
So if the fence goes out the door and is to put up, let's say here in Crystal, there's an additional cost of a little over $20,000 actually per month.
That would come to Crystal.
We would pay the vendor for being deployed around our facility here.
Right, I'm saying, for example, I don't know, pick any other agency, right? It's deployed there.
They would then pay that cost.
That.
Yep. So that is not passed around. So if it goes to, let's say, New Hope, we're not subsidizing that.
Right.
All we're paying for is basically the availability of having fence here in the metro.
I don't know if that maybe, I was hoping maybe that kind of answered some of the questions, because the way it came out kind of was like, okay,
Gotcha.
if it's deployed, then the cost for everybody goes up. But that's not the case.
No.
It would go up for us if we had to.
If you make the request.
If we had to make the request, which would still then be cheaper than if we had to make the request, period.
Absolutely.
And the $8,000 is more or less our buy-in to be part of this.
That's your annual ongoing fee.
Cost.
So it basically is covering maintenance, storage, and then some basic transportation for
And then
training.
the fence itself, this non-scalable fence, well, I remember from January 6th, they used that fencing and they used it as part of ways to get into the building, right? So it's not something that can be cut apart, taken apart. I mean, if they would have had it, it would have prevented January 6th.
Yep. They didn't have non-scalable fencing up there. They had bike racks.
Yeah.
Nancy?
Oh, thank you. So just doing cost analysis here, if we join in, it's about an $8,000 annual fee. If we didn't join and you needed to deploy, something happened, you're talking about 20,000? I was just wondering, what would the
If we
cost-
didn't join,
If you didn't join in, an event happened, say like, who said no, Golden Valley? What if something happened there and they needed something to protect their building? What would the cost be?
So if they weren't a part of the consortium, it most likely would be probably, and this is just with numbers that we've received from,
Like Brooklyn Center or?
it would cost anywhere from probably $175,000 to $200,000, depending on how long the fence is up.
and how much, what the footage is.
And what the footage is?
Keep in mind, Brooklyn Center, they only had basically 350 feet on the front side of their PD.
Okay, yeah, so there, do you know what that cost was to them? I'm just curious.
We'd be into it without a doubt. In that first month, you're into it for 6 figures in the first month. And then, they have a monthly cost that would be less than that, but, I mean, it would be a very large price.
So would insurance cover that?
No.
Or no, that's your expense? Okay, good to know.
This is like a self-insurance policy.
Right. Okay,
With
thanks, guys.
a co-op self-insurance policy. That's kind of what it is. All right. Motion, anyone? Go ahead.
I'm going to have to back into my paperwork here. Would the motion be to adopt the resolution for a fence consortium joint powers agreement?
Yep.
Did I say that right? Thank you.
Yes. All right. Brendan?
I second that.
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay. Yep, thank you, guys.
I may or may not have.
6.1 on our agenda is disbursements of $25,000 or greater. I'm going to read those into the record at this time. We got a short list: City of Brooklyn Park, Hennepin Recycling Group for the annual administrative fee, $88,280. Logis for the monthly application costs for hosting and fiber projects, $43,475. West Metro Fire Rescue District September contributions to the West Metro Fire Rescue District, $113,656. Min-para for pay date 9/2/22 for employee and city required contribution is $61,325. Health Partners for September health insurance premiums is $127,325. $357. Total disbursements of $25,000 or greater is $434,094.39. Are there any questions on any of these items from the council? Seeing no questions, I'm entertaining a motion. John, go ahead.
Make a motion approving all the disbursements over 25,000.
Looking for a second. Therese?
I'll second that.
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 2 on the regular agenda, we have our Public Works Director here again. Sorry I didn't introduce you last time. Mark Ray.
Good
Welcome.
evening. Good evening, everybody. Item before you, as a replacement of a pickup truck, it's originally slated in the long-term plan to be replaced in 2024. We're in the current long-term plan that you'll be voting on in basically December. It was proposed to slide to 2022. It's in a little bit of rough shape. Score is 26, which is in the realm of on the vehicle condition index for replacement. We actually, so usually they'll say, oh, we got a quote off the state contract. Well, we didn't, because it's not on there. So we actually had to get 2 quotes from dealers, because that's where things are at right now. The quotes are there in front of you. It'll be 1-for-1 replacement. This truck will take the place of truck number 44, which basically recreation uses seasonally. And then 44 will be sold at auction. So next slide, or I guess I got it. The item before you is just a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the purchase of the replacement pickup truck.
Thank you, Mark. Questions for Mark? Nancy?
Could I just ask, there was numbers written on my sheet.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
These vendors are out of St. Cloud,
Okay,
and we've had a very interesting time trying to get quotes of any. So I believe that was actually handwritten on there and sent over from the vendor for what the final cost would be.
okay. So I saw a subtraction of 7,200.
So they gave us a credit
Okay.
because apparently they want our business. So
Oh, well,
that's awesome because
that's nice.
it literally took us 6 months to get 2 quotes.
Wow. All right. Other questions? Thank you, Mark. Go ahead, Nancy.
I'll make a motion. Approving the purchase of a replacement utility pickup truck, and are you going to have a name contest for this?
Well, nah, it's just a very boring pickup truck.
Okay, then I'll take that off, I'm sorry. Approving the purchase of a replacement utility pickup truck.
All right, looking for a second. Brendan?
And second that?
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. The announcements for today are the police station ribbon cutting is Saturday. Come one and all to the open house. It starts at 10 a.m., goes till 2 p.m. So that's really exciting news. You want to talk? Yeah, I can tell.
I'm driving poor CCX in the back crazy because I'm jumping from mic to mic, but thank you, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate it. So as the mayor said, our open house is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The ribbon cutting with the mayor and all of you starts at 10 a.m. The program will last about 25 to 30 minutes or so, and then we will open the doors and it'll be a free-for-all for folks to go in on their own with the great help of Assistant City Manager Kim Terrace and Mike Peterson and Deputy Chief Hubbard. We came up with a lot of different sandwich boards throughout the police department that will be up so people will know what they're seeing and being able to read some stuff and look at pictures and look at everything inside. So it's going to be a really exciting event, so I hope everyone comes out to it. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Yes, it is. All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Our next council meeting is October 3rd at 7 p.m. The council here at City Hall in the council chambers, and also via Zoom you can attend. Council meetings and work sessions are open to the public. You can watch them or listen to them on our website at www.crystalmn.gov. Any other announcements? Anything we missed? John?
Early voting starts Friday, and so you can also vote by absentee ballot if you have to, if you want to. Or you can vote in person on the day of the election. Any questions, please contact the city clerk here at Crystal.
All right. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Hey, I was just gonna have an announcement. I'm just kidding. No, you go right ahead.
All right, looking for a second.
So I'll second.
Thanks, Nancy. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Have a great night, you guys.
Record.